All right, today we're going to dive into a puzzle that looks so simple on the surface. You just guess a number. But there's a fantastic twist. Every single wrong guess is going to cost you money. This isn't a game of luck at all. It's a deep dive into strategic thinking, where we're going to figure out how to guarantee a win without losing our shirt.
So here's the real question we're wrestling with. It's not just how do you win. It's what's the absolute rock bottom minimum amount of money you need in your pocket to guarantee a victory, even if your opponent is a genius who's trying to make you pay as much as possible. That one word, guarantee, changes absolutely everything.
Okay, so the rules are pretty straightforward. Somebody picks a secret number, you make a guess. If you nail it, you win. Simple. But if you're wrong, you have to pay whatever number you just guessed in dollars. The good news is you get a crucial hint. Was the secret number higher or lower? The whole game is about finding that number before you go broke.
So here's our game plan for cracking this thing. First, we'll see why the most obvious strategy is actually a total trap. Then, we're going to get into the right mindset for this game, build our solution from the ground up, and find the actual formula for a guaranteed win. And stick around, because at the end, we'll see how this way of thinking goes way beyond just this puzzle.
Okay, let's make this real. For a number range of 1 to 10, the answer is exactly $16. Not a penny more, not a penny less. So the real question is, how in the world do we arrive at a number that specific? Now, if you've ever done any programming, I know exactly what your brain is screaming right now. Binary search, just guess the middle. You cut the problem in half and then in half again. It's the most efficient way to find something, right? Well, in this game, that beautiful, logical instinct is a complete trap. And here's why. It's a fundamental difference in goals. A binary search is all about being fast. It's designed to find the answer in the fewest possible guesses. But we're not playing for speed here. We're playing to be cheap. We need to find the number for the lowest possible cost. We're optimizing for dollars, not for turns.
So let's just play it out. The range is 1 to 10. Our brain says guess 5. Okay, boom, that costs us $5. Now remember, our opponent isn't picking randomly. They are actively trying to make this as expensive as possible for us. They look at the two new problems we just created, finding a number from 1 to 4 or from 6 to 10, and they know that second one is way more expensive. So what do they say? Of course, they say higher.
And if we just keep doing that, just keep splitting the difference, our clever opponent is going to keep pushing us into the more expensive half of the problem every single time. We'll end up paying way more than $16. The lesson here is crystal clear. Any strategy that completely ignores what your opponent is trying to do is a losing strategy.
So this brings us to a really important mental shift. You have to stop thinking about playing to win. Instead, you have to start thinking about playing to not lose. You have to plan for the absolute worst-case scenario at every single turn.
This is the only mindset that works. You have to assume your opponent is a mind reader. They know your strategy inside and out, and at every fork in the road, they will make the one choice that costs you the most money. We have to build our strategy around that assumption.
Now this whole idea has a really cool name. It's the min-max principle, straight out of game theory. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It just means you look at every possible move you could make, you figure out the worst-case cost for each of those moves, and then you choose the move that has the best worst case. You are minimizing your maximum possible loss. Minimax.
So, let's picture it. You guess some number, let's call it K. That guess splits the game into two possible futures, one where the answer is lower than K, and one where it's higher. And who decides which of those two new, smaller puzzles you have to solve? Your opponent. And you can bet they will always pick the one that's harder, the one with a higher guaranteed cost.
So how in the world do we calculate those future costs? Well, we can't solve the big game from 1 to 10 until we already know how to solve all the smaller games inside it, like 1 to 3 or 5 to 7. This is the whole idea behind a super powerful technique called dynamic programming. You solve all the tiny puzzles first, and then you use those answers to build your way up to the big one.
Let's look at the absolute simplest cases. If the range is just 1 and 2, your best move is to guess 1. If you're wrong, you pay $1, but you instantly know the answer is 2. So your maximum loss is just $1. Now what about a range of 1 to 3? Well, your best move is actually to guess 2. The worst that can happen is you pay $2, and then you immediately know if the answer is 1 or 3. So your max loss is $2.
Okay, let's get just a little more formal so we can build a real solution. We can describe the answer to any of these little mini-games as f of I, j. That's just our shorthand for the guaranteed cost to win in the range from I to j. So based on what we just did, f of 1, 2 is $1. Our ultimate goal is to figure out f of 1, 10, and we're going to do that by calculating all the smaller pieces first. We can actually store all these answers in a little table, kind of a cheat sheet. You can see here, for any range with just one number, like 1 to 1 or 3 to 3, the cost is 0, obviously. You just guess it and win. And as we just saw, the cost for the range 1 to 2 is 1. What we're going to do is systematically fill this entire table out, starting with the smallest ranges and building our way up to the big one.
All right, now that we have all the building blocks and the right mindset, we can finally put together the master formula.
Okay, don't let the math scare you. This is the heart of the entire solution. It brings everything together. It says the cost to win in any range, f of ij, is found by trying out every possible guess, k. For each guess, our total cost is the guess itself, which is k, plus the cost of the harder problem our opponent forces on us, that's the max part. We run that calculation for every possible k, and then we choose the one that gives us the overall minimum cost. It's minimax, just written out as a formula.
And what's really cool is this logic translates directly into code. You can see it right here. We loop through every possible number k that we could guess. For each guess, we use max to figure out the cost of the worst of the two resulting subproblems, using our little cheat sheet table. We add the cost of our current guess k, and then we just keep track of the guess that gives us the overall minimum worst-case cost. And when we run this entire process for our original problem from 1 to 10, what's the final answer that pops out? 16. It works. And get this, the formula also tells us that the best first move isn't 5, it's actually 7. Why? Because guessing 7 is the move that best balances the potential costs of the two subproblems it creates. It's brilliant.
So, why does any of this matter? I mean, who cares? It's just a puzzle, right? Well, this isn't just about a puzzle. It's an exercise in an incredibly powerful way of thinking that you can apply almost anywhere. Think about the tools we just put in our strategic toolkit. 1, the minimax principle, for thinking through any competitive situation. 2, dynamic programming, for solving enormous problems by starting with the smallest pieces. And 3, this whole discipline of worst-case analysis.
And this really matters, because this is how modern strategic systems think. It's exactly how a chess AI evaluates its moves. It always assumes its opponent will make the best possible countermove. It's used in economics to model markets and in business strategy to plan for competitive threats. It's all about making robust, solid decisions in a really uncertain world.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your own life, in your work, what's one decision you're facing where thinking like a game theorist and planning for the absolute worst-case scenario isn't pessimistic? It's actually the smartest possible move you can make.